Chapter 4. An Evening Together. Ethan went up to the kitchen door and found that it was locked. He called, "Hello, Matt," but there was no answer. He stood in the darkness and waited. After a moment, he heard a sound on the stairs and saw light round the door. And just like the night before, the door opened, and there stood a woman with a lamp in her hand. The lamplight shone on the milky whiteness of Mattie's young skin, on her soft lips and shining dark eyes. She smiled gently and stepped to the side to let Ethan come in. The kitchen was warm and welcoming. On the table were cakes and fruit in a bright red glass dish, and the cat was lying lazily in front of a warm fire. "Well, Matt, any visitors?" asked Ethan. "Just one," replied Mattie, laughing. A black cloud came down over Ethan's world. "Who is that?" She looked at him and laughed again. "Jotham Powell. He came in and asked for a drop of coffee." The blackness lifted, and Ethan's world grew bright again. "Well, I hope you gave him some," he said, then added, "I suppose Zena got to the station in time?" Zena's name brought an immediate coolness into the kitchen. After a few moments, Mattie said, "I guess it's about time for supper," and they sat down. But they still felt uncomfortable. Zena seemed to be in the room with them, with her cold eyes and strange looks. They ate in embarrassed silence, then began to talk about the weather. As they were speaking, the cat climbed quietly onto the table and started to move towards the milk jug. When they saw it, they both reached forwards at once, their hands meeting on the jug. Ethan kept his hand on Mattie's a few seconds longer than was necessary. At that moment, the cat suddenly jumped backwards and knocked into the red glass dish. The dish fell to the floor with a crash. "Oh, Ethan," Mattie cried. "It's all in pieces. What will Zena say? It was her very best dish." "Don't worry. I'll get another one." "You'll never find one. It was a wedding present from her aunt in Philadelphia. That's why she never uses it. I had to climb up to get it from the top of her cupboard. Oh, Ethan, what shall I do?" She began to cry, and her tears seemed to burn into Ethan's heart. "Oh, Matt, don't cry. Please don't cry," he said softly. They looked at the bits of red glass lying like the broken pieces of their evening. Ethan picked them up and walked out of the kitchen to the hall. Reaching up his long arm, he put the broken pieces at the top of the cupboard and arranged them carefully. From below, nobody could see that the dish was broken. "I'll get some glue to mend it tomorrow," thought Ethan. "Zena won't look at it for months, and I'm sure I'll find another one somewhere." He went back to the kitchen. "It's all right, Matt," he said. "Let's finish supper." After the meal, Mattie cleared the table, and Ethan went out to see the cows. The world was dark and still outside. When he came back, Mattie had pushed his chair near the fire and had seated herself by the lamp with a bit of sewing. He sat down, feeling warm and dreamy and at peace with the world. The only trouble was that he could not see Mattie from where he sat. But he felt too lazy to move, and after a moment he said, "Come over here and sit by the fire." Mattie got up and sat opposite him in Zena's rocking chair. He looked at the chair, and for a moment he saw his wife's grim face there. Mattie seemed to feel uncomfortable too. After a while she got up, saying, "I can't see to sew," and went back to sit by the lamp. The cat jumped into the empty rocking chair, and Ethan moved his own chair a little. Now he could see Mattie as she sat and sewed in the soft lamplight. A deep quiet came over the kitchen. The tick-tick of the clock was the only sound in the room, and the smoke from Ethan's pipe and the smell of Mattie's flowering plants filled the air. They began to talk easily of everyday things. It all seemed so comfortable and so peaceful. Ethan began to dream that they always spent their evenings like this. "This was the night when we were going coasting," he said after a while. She smiled back at him. "I guess you forgot." "No, I didn't forget. It's too dark tonight. But we can go tomorrow if there's a moon." "That would be lovely, Ethan." Mattie laughed happily, and her eyes shone in the lamplight. Ethan loved the way that her face changed as she talked, like a field of grass moving under a gentle summer wind. "It's too dangerous on a dark night like this," he went on. "You've got to keep your eyes open on that slope, you know, Matt. That's a dangerous corner down by that big tree. You could crash right into it if you're not careful." Then he added, "I guess we're fine here, aren't we?" "Yes, we're fine here," agreed Mattie in a soft, sweet voice. Ethan put down his pipe and pulled his chair up to the table. He touched the end of her piece of sewing. "Say, Matt, guess what I saw tonight? Your friends kissing under the Varnum trees." Mattie's face turned bright red. "That'll be Ruth and Ned," she answered, looking down at her sewing. Ethan felt embarrassed, too. Last night, on their walk home, he had put his arm around Mattie and had wanted to kiss her. But tonight, in the warm, lamp-lit room, she seemed so much further away. "I guess they'll get married soon," said Ethan. "And then maybe you'll be next." "Why do you say that?" she replied in a low voice. "Is it because Zena doesn't want me to stay?" "What do you mean?" asked Ethan, afraid again. I thought that last night she seemed, oh, I don't know. Nobody knows what Zena thinks. She hasn't said anything to you, has she?" He shook his head. "No, not a word." "I guess it was nothing, then. Let's not think about it," said Mattie, and went on with her sewing. Ethan watched her in silence. Then he gently took hold of the other end of her piece of sewing. Mattie's warmth seemed to flow along it towards him. Could she feel the answering warmth from his own hand? They sat like this for a few moments. Then Ethan heard a sound behind him. The cat had jumped down from Zena's chair, and because of the sudden movement, the empty chair had started a ghostly rocking. "Zena'll be in that chair herself this time tomorrow," thought Ethan. "I've been in a dream, and this is the only evening we'll ever have together." The return to the real world filled him with pain, and he suddenly felt very tired. Mattie looked at him, and for a moment he saw fear cross her face. He held on to her sewing and kissed the end of it softly. She pulled it slowly from his lips and put it away. It was 11 o'clock. "Is the fire all right?" she asked in a low voice. They checked the fire, moved the plant pots away from the cold window, and put out the lamp. "Good night, Matt," he said, as she put her foot on the first step of the stairs. "Good night, Ethan," she answered, and went up. When the door of her room had closed, he remembered that he had not even touched her hand.